Let's discuss the principles of extension program planning. But before we go into that, what is extension? We've defined agricultural extension as an ongoing process of trained professionals helping farm families to improve on their standard of living through education with the target of bringing about desirable changes in knowledge, skill, and attitude. Extension means to extend, to spread, or to disseminate useful information and ideas to rural people outside the regularly organized schools and classroom. Extension education is education for the rural people outside the formal university, secondary, primary classroom setting to bring out social and cultural development. It's important that we look at that basic issue relating to extension as we now venture into the principles of program planning. We're going to take these principles one after the other, and please, we appeal that you be able to pick each principle and then have a practical application of them. Don't just cram these principles. Be able to envisage the principles, be able to relate them to real life work, to real life extension work. Extension program have the definite purpose of improving rural life through, as we said, individual, group, and community actions. Now, extension program planning has certain principles which hold good, irrespective of the nature of the clientele and the enterprise they may be pursuing. It may be crop, it may be animal, it may be fishery, it may be agroforestry, but then irrespective of what they are pursuing, extension principle has a whole lot for them. First, extension program should be based on an analysis of the past, present experience, the present situation, and future needs. That's the first principle we're looking at. That for program determination, adequate information about the people and their situation must be collected. The present situation is to be analyzed and interpreted on the basis of past experience by taking local people into confidence. This shall help in arriving at the future needs. The next principle of extension that we want to look at in this class is the principle that extension program should have clear and significant objectives which could satisfy important needs of the people. Clearly stated is the fact that the objective of extension program and the target of extension program is to satisfy the needs of the people. Now, for this purpose, significant objectives pertaining to important needs of the people should be selected and clearly stated. The emphasis should be on what is attainable rather than on what is ideal. There are cases where the ideal is not attainable. So, what the extension should target first is what is attainable. Although one should not lose sight of what is ideal. While we pursue what is ideal, we use the process of that which is attainable to pursue that. The next principle is that extension program should fix up priority clearly, indicating the availability and utilization of resources. Extension program should clearly indicate the availability and utilization of resources. An extension program should clearly state where from the funds, we mean the sources of the funds, the sources of the facilities, the sources of the supplies, and the sources of the needed personnel that will be utilized for program activities. This shall make the program practical and workable. If you are saying you need 50 billion to carry out an extension program, where are you getting it from? IMF, World Bank, Central Bank, agricultural banks, Nigerian loan nations, whatever. You should be able to know where you are getting your funds from. The next principle, number 4, that extension program should fix up priorities on the basis of available resources and time. So we've said you should know your source of resources. Now, fix up your priorities based on available resources and time. Cut your coat according to your cloth, not according to your size. You need to look at the materials you have and plan. Fix up your priorities based on the materials you have. Where it is clear that resources are not enough, do what we call the scale of preference. Set up your preference according to the extent to which they are much more needed. There will be the opportunity cost, which is the foregone alternative, which of course would not be met, but then let the urgent issues be attended to. The rural people, particularly in countries like Nigeria, like in our situation in Igbo, have a multitude of problems. Now, all problems cannot be taken up at the same time for solution. It is not possible. They need water, they need light, they need agrochemicals, they need improved seeds, they need improved livestock species, they need improved broiler species. Now, you cannot take up all these things at the same time. All problems cannot be taken up for solution because of the limitations of one, trend, personnel, limitations of availability of funds, limitations of availability of facilities, and so many other resources. Again, you also know that time is limited. You don't have all the time to get your results. So now, considering these parameters, it is essential to fix up priorities in the program in line with resources and available time. Extension program, the next one, should have a general agreement at various levels. A program prepared at various levels, such as village, district, state, and national levels, should conform to each other and shall not work at cross purpose. You cannot have programs working against themselves, no, working against each other. Similarly, the extension program of a particular department should not be in conflict or contradiction with the extension program of other departments. The next principle is that extension program should involve people at local level. Extension programs are implemented at the local level. Local people should therefore be involved all through, from program formulation to program implementation to program evaluation, monitoring. The local people should be involved. When we involve local people, it supports sustainability. You can be sure of sustainability. The people own up the project, the people ensures the projects are not malhandled. Extension programs should involve relevant institutions and organizations. It's important that the extension program cannot be implemented in isolation. It's good you know that. You cannot or let me say, you cannot single-handedly handle extension program. It requires the support of many institutions and organizations. The program should broadly indicate the institutions and organizations to be involved and how they shall contribute in attaining the program objectives. The next we want to look at is that extension program should have definite plan of work. The plan of work may be separately drawn up or incorporated in the program. The program should at least broadly indicate how it will be executed. Unless the plan of work is drawn up, the program remains a theoretical exercise. If you don't have a clear plan of, just like in your project thesis dissertation, you should have a plan of work. First week I will do this, third week I should be here, in the fourth week I should be in my chapter 3, in the sixth week I should be in my chapter 4, in this 12th week I should be done with my project work. Something applies to extension. There should be a clear plan of work. If not, whatever you are doing will end up looking theoretical. The next one we want to look at is that extension program on its own should provide for evaluation of results and reconsideration of the program. Please, programs must be evaluated and reconsidered. Extension program is not a static outline of activities. The program should make provision for periodical monitoring and evaluation of results to judge its progress. On the basis of the findings of evaluation, the program should be suitably modified to facilitate its reaching the objectives within the stipulated period of time. Both formative and summative evaluations are important. And when you will do program evaluation, I'm sure this will be part of the highlights of that aspect, summative and formative evaluation. And then the last one is that extension program should provide for equitable distribution of benefits among members of the community. Don't um, do what we've been seeing over time now. Extension is against it, but it's been found that in a community, generally resource-rich persons benefit more in comparison to the resource poor. Rich people want to grab everything, especially even in extension program. The extension program is targeting the poor, those with low standard of living in the community. Now, as this may generate social disparity and social tension, when the rich grab everything, you expect social disparity and social tension. The planning of extension program should give adequate emphasis on the weaker section of the community. The weaker section of the community. Very, very important. Let the plan of work target to benefit the weaker section of the community. If that is done, then you can be very sure that extension will get all of its results. Let's look at steps in extension program planning. The steps are very clear. First of all, you collect your data. Data collection is the first point, and it is the starting point of program planning process. Pertinent data may be collected from the available records and maybe by survey of the area, information related to the people, the enterprise, level of technology, facilities and customers value, etc. This data should be collected. After that, you analyze the situation. The data and information collected are then analyzed with the local people. This shall help in understanding the situation in its proper perspectives. After that, you identify the problems. A good analysis and interpretation of the data shall tell correctly what the problems are. There may be many problems, but only the urgent and significant ones may be solved with the available resources and within the stipulated time. Then, determination of objectives and goals. The objectives must be determined and then set forth on the basis of the significant needs identified. The objectives should be directed and stated in clear forms. In the present example that we have around us now, we are the people who have so many needs that need to be addressed, and the objectives must be made known to the people. Extension must tell the people what they've come to do. And then it's important that we determine the plan of work and calendar of operation. The plan of work should be written down, clearly stated. Who are the institutions that are to be involved? What are the departments that will be involved? What will be the financial requirements? How will we meet the financial requirements? What arrangements shall be made for marketing of the farm produce if it is farming project? How do we want to train the farmers and so on? The plan should have all the essential details and no important points should be left out. Follow through work plan and calendar of operation. Make every effort to ensure that you don't get distracted. is an important step in extension program, that you don't get distracted. Follow through work. This is not it's not a routine type of work as many people may think. Extension is not a routine type of work. Training of participants, communication of information, conducting method demonstrations, making regular visits and monitoring are some of the important functions the extension agent should perform at this stage. The work should include solving unforeseen problems and taking corrective steps. Very, very important. Then there is the need for evaluation of progress. Very, very important. The evaluation is the process of determining the extent to which we have been able to attain our objectives. All programs must have an inbuilt system of evaluation. Evaluation will help you to know whether you've succeeded or not, whether you failed or not. And then finally, the consideration and revision of the program. On the basis of the results of your evaluation, it's expected that the program should be reconsidered and revised if need be. This reconsideration should be done not only with the participants, but also with the scientists, the extension manager, the local people, and innovation incubation centers, and whomsoever that is involved in the extension process. Thank you.